Welcome to the presentation on requirements gathering and analysis. Purpose of requirements gathering. Requirements gathering involves identifying, documenting, and analyzing the needs, expectations, and constraints of stakeholders related to the project. The objective is to ensure that the project delivers the desired outcomes and meets the needs of the stakeholders effectively. The purpose of requirements gathering. Requirements gathering involves identifying, documenting, and analyzing the needs, expectations, and constraints of stakeholders related to the project. The objective is to ensure that the project delivers the desired outcomes and meets the needs of stakeholders effectively. Stakeholder involvement. Identifying stakeholders. Identify all relevant stakeholders who will provide input or be impacted by the project. Stakeholder engagement. Engage stakeholders in requirements gathering activities to ensure that their perspectives and requirements are captured accurately. Techniques for requirements gathering. Interviews. Conduct one-on-one or group interviews with stakeholders to gather detailed information about their requirements, preferences, and expectations. Surveys. Distribute surveys or questionnaires to stakeholders to collect feedback and gather quantitative data on their needs and priorities. Workshops. Facilitate workshops or focus groups with stakeholders to encourage collaboration, brainstorming, and consensus building on project requirements. Observation. Observe stakeholders in their work environment to understand their workflows, processes, and pain points that the project can address. Prototyping. Develop prototypes or mock-ups of the proposed solution to gather feedback from stakeholders and validate their requirements. Documentation of requirements. The requirements document. In this, we document project requirements in a structured format, including functional requirements, non-functional requirements, and constraints. Use cases. Develop use cases or user stories to describe how stakeholders will interact with the project deliverables and achieve their objectives. The requirements traceability matrix with the acronym RTM. Create an RTM to trace requirements back to their sources and ensure that all requirements are addressed throughout the project lifecycle. Prioritization. Prioritize the requirements based on their importance, urgency, and their impact on the project success. Requirements analysis. Validation. Validate requirements with stakeholders to ensure that they accurately represent their needs and their expectations. Consistency. Ensure consistency and coherence among requirements to avoid conflicts or duplications. Feasibility assessment. Assess the feasibility of implementing requirements within the project constraints, including constraints on budget, time, and resources. Impact analysis. Analyze the potential impact of requirements on the project scope, schedule, budget, and the risk. Tools and techniques. Requirements gathering templates. Utilize standardized templates or forms to capture the requirements consistently and comprehensively. Collaboration tools. Use collaboration tools such as online surveys, shared documents, and virtual whiteboards to facilitate remote requirements gathering sessions. Requirements management software. Employ requirements management software tools to document, track, and manage the project requirements effectively. Challenges and considerations. Managing stakeholder expectations. Address conflicting priorities and expectations among stakeholders to ensure alignment and consensus on the project requirements. Scope creep. Guard against scope creep by clearly defining and prioritizing requirements and implementing robust change control processes. Scope creep is the addition of stuff that is not exactly in the scope. Communication. Ensure clear and effective communication with stakeholders throughout the requirements gathering and analysis process to mitigate misunderstandings and ambiguities. By conducting a thorough requirements gathering process and analysis during the project initiation, Project teams can establish a solid foundation for project planning and execution. This ultimately leads to the successful delivery of project outcomes and that meets stakeholder needs and expectations. Thank you for taking the time to see this presentation. Please discuss any questions or any topics of discussion in the group chat, and we would appreciate your feedback on the course and the presentation. Thank you.